I felt, as you did, that the synopsis was a bit more compelling than the first page, just to draw us in. Why did you think that was the case?
Well, I think there was something about the voice of the synopsis that was very strong. I'm not sure I can identify what it was, but because what we received as the first page was in the middle of it's in the middle of a sex scene. I'm gonna blush. That's just me. And I just didn't have a sense of who the people were. And it is memoir, after all, and so you really want to be invested in the I character, the me,
Yes.
of the me-ness.
I agree, absolutely.
So I wasn't invested. I thought, well, these are two people having sex.
And they could have been a lot of people having sex. I think that's so often true of sex scenes. It's not that this isn't a realistic sex scene, but unless there's something genuinely quirky, and I don't mean necessarily kinky, but at least individual.
All right, I'm blushing.
Sorry.
I don't know if I could talk anymore about that part. I just wanted to focus on the fact that what comes across so clearly in the synopsis is that this is a compelling story, and even this sentence, I think you said this earlier, that in the synopsis there's a sentence, I walked the halls of high school like a disembodied head, unaware that the back of my yellow skirt was covered in blood, but that might be...
I would open the memoir with that.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great way to get right into the story of what's going on.
And sympathize with that girl.
Absolutely.
With a memoir, I want to be rooting for the narrator.
You have to be.
No matter what happens, yeah. No matter what happens.
Yeah.
I also, and this is just my thing, I personally prefer memoir to be in the past tense rather than the present tense. I know a lot of people feel it's more immediate. But the synopsis is in the past tense because it has to be for a memoir. And this was in the present tense, and while I was reading it, I kept wondering, okay, am I just being prejudiced?
I hadn't even noticed that difference, but that's so interesting that maybe that is something that you can play with.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe there's a way. I know in my own book, I ended up doing both present tense and past tense.
Yes.
There's something that wears you down about present tense too much, I think. At least that was my idea.
How so?
You have to be so immediate the entire time as a reader. I think it's exhausting that you're always on the edge of discovery in that way. There's no way to hang back a little bit and then be seduced again.
I love that. I love that. Is that why you switch back and forth?
Well, that's what I'll say now. Yeah.
Stick to it. That's a good story.